Let's talk about the best budget recruits you should be going after in college football 25. So I dropped a bunch of videos covering recruits, every different tendency, 4 stars, 5 stars, 3 stars. And one thing I noticed is there are some budget recruits, whether it's 3 stars you could bring in at a certain position, certain archetype that would develop better than others. So we're pretty much going to cover all of that in this video, make recruiting a little bit easier, especially when you're starting off as a 1-2 star program. You might not be able to go after that 4 and 5 star, but some of these 3 star budget players you could get pretty easily. If y'all enjoy the content, make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Go over to my Twitch, drop a follow over there. We're doing the Deshaun Jackson rebuild of Delaware State. Also, if anyone interested in joining my online dynasty, go follow me on Twitch, DM me on Instagram or Twitter, and let me know. I'll send you the link. We have a wait list looking to add some more people to it. So depending what program you're taking over, recruiting could be easy, difficult. Right here we have a 2.5 star Rutgers, and this is what I consider an easier rebuild when it comes to recruiting. We're a 2.5 star program, and look how many 4 stars are interested in us, man. And it's because Rutgers has some pretty good pipelines. You see here, we got a bunch of 5 pipelines in Jersey, the whole Big Apple part of the United States, whatever you want to call it. They have that pipeline, and it's tier 5. So that's very helpful for Rutgers, and they have a lot of 4 stars interest. You go to other 2 stars, you may have no 4 stars interest. You may have 1 or 2. So when it comes to recruiting, I think you should pursue every single one of these 4 stars. I wouldn't even scout them. I'll add them to the board, just pursue them. Any 4 star that's interested, especially as a smaller school. If you want to go after more 4 stars that's not interested, that's great. I recommend waiting a couple weeks, send 1-2 weeks, whatever 4 stars have no offers or just being under recruited, go ahead, snatch them up. You can do the same thing for 5 stars. I wouldn't suggest going after 5 stars from the start. I'll suggest figuring out what players are being under recruited and then go after those 5 stars. All right, so let's get into some of the budget players. Let's start with quarterback, arguably the most important position on the field. And you come in here to 4 star quarterbacks, man. It's a lot of quarterbacks in this game. In every single recruiting cycle, it's so many quarterbacks. I can't lie. It's so many quarterbacks. You could always find a quarterback no matter what point it is in the year. If it's all the way in the off season, you could find a quarterback that could be a gem, that could be a good player, and he has never been recruited, never even got a scholarship offer. You could find those guys in the off season. So yes, quarterback is important. If you want to find you a 4 star that's going to be very good, go after them early. But if you find with settling for a 3 star, maybe a smaller program, you could honestly wait, man. And I recommend going after these 3 star gems, and you want to scout them. You want to find a guy that's either going to be a gem or at least has some good attributes. But like I said earlier, you could wait. Look how many athlete quarterbacks there are, man. I think this is like the most at any position of athletes is going to be the quarterbacks. We keep scrolling, all 3 stars here. So many different athletes here. Just keep scrolling, keep scrolling. And a lot of these guys are going to be good players. Finally, you get into the regular quarterbacks, but it's still so many of these 3 stars, and a lot of these guys would never find a home. They'll never even be recruited. Because think about it like this: there's 134 programs in this game. How many quarterbacks is this? This might be over 100. Every team is not bringing in a quarterback, so a lot of quarterbacks will never find a home, and you could easily bring in a gem, a good quarterback, very late in the process. So if you're going to go for a 3 star quarterback, I feel like this is a budget way to do it. Not really pursuing them early in the year. Wait until the end of the year. If you want to go after a 5 or 4 star, you got to do it from the start, but you don't have to when it comes to these quarterbacks. Another reason I recommend going after these athlete quarterbacks, and I would even suggest bringing in a couple, especially if you find someone with some good speed. If you find 2-3 athlete quarterbacks, I suggest bringing in a couple, because oftentimes than not, they might be better at running back. Like, you moving the running back, they might shoot up like 5 overalls compared to quarterback. And when you're a small program, when you're early on, you need as much help as you could get. And the point is, you need players to get to the NFL. You need to help increase that pro potential. So bring in players that, you know, essentially could be a top player at running back, and running backs usually develop pretty well, especially these athlete quarterbacks that you move over, and he has a chance to actually make it to the NFL, prove your pro potential, which is then going to help increase your program prestige. All of that stuff matters. So I really like these athlete quarterbacks, 3 stars, 4 stars. I wouldn't really do 2 stars, me personally, especially when you could bring in 3 stars so easily all throughout the year. I wouldn't really go at the 2 stars. Next, let's get into tight ends, and my budget advice for a tight end is to go after a 4-star blocking guy. Man, I swear these guys so often get under recruited. You can find these guys with no scholarship offers. They're usually under recruited. A lot of times the CPU try to go after these guys late in the year. That's what I figure out from my experience. But the thing about the blocking tight end, they usually develops the best, and that's going to help your pro potential. Even if you don't like blocking tight ends, you might not even have to start them. If you don't want to start them, don't. Get you an athlete receiver, move over to tight end, but at least always have a blocking tight end on your roster, especially as a small program, because he has the chance to develop, go to the NFL. He could get to a 90 plus overall, and he might not even be your starter because the attributes is not where you want. So getting you a blocking tight end, whether it's a 4-star, 3-star, the only thing I suggest, if you're going to go after a 3-star, you have to scout them. I would never suggest bringing in a bust tight end or even a normal development tight end, or excuse me, a guy that's not a gym, not a bust. I will only bring in a gym tight end, especially as a 3-star. And like I said, I would suggest going after a 4-star blocking. They seem pretty easy to get from my experience. Next, let's talk about O-linemen in general. Earlier, I mentioned the quarterbacks and how you could get them all the way in the offseason. You don't have to pursue quarterback all throughout the year. You could wait till the offseason. You bring in 3 quarterbacks that's gyms, all throwing the transfer portal window, and they all high school players. O-lineman is different. Tackles and guards, especially 3-stars, 4-stars for sure, 5-stars definitely. All of the 3-stars and up tackle and guards, when you hit the offseason, they're gone. You have to do all your O-line recruiting during the year. By the time you hit the offseason, they are gone. The only thing that's going to be left will be these centers. And it'll be like a handful of centers. So if you want to go get you, if you need O-lineman, you waited all year, you can wait till the offseason to get you a center or 2. But you're best off really pursuing these O-linemen, whether you need a tackle, guard. Like I said, you got to get them during the year, man. You got to, or they're going to be gone by the offseason. And my advice when it comes to recruiting O-linemen, you probably don't want to bring in any pass protectors. Definitely don't bring in the pass protecting center. I would be some advice I would be very confident to give you. Don't bring that in if you're playing all the games. You're not going to have a good time. He's going to be getting cooked every single run up the middle, every inside zone. Don't bring in the pass blocking, pass protecting center. They're going to come in with the super low strength. I wouldn't recommend going with the pass blocking guard either. I'd rather either go in agile or power. If you want to go pass protector on the tackles, that's fine, but I would not recommend it for the inside guys if you're playing every game. If you're simulating, it doesn't matter as much, but when you're in gameplay and you just getting cooked, it's not gonna be fun. Get you a power or agile inside guys, and if you want to do tackles and go pass protect on the outside, that's fine. Next, let's focus on the D-line, and it's gonna be similar to the O-line when it comes to you gotta recruit these guys in the season, man. You can't wait till the off season. There's not gonna be many players left at all. That's not a position you want to wait for. Do it in the season, don't wait. And my budget tip for D lineman is going to be the run stopping defensive end. If you run a 4-3, I love moving these guys to D tackle. Like, they're going to come in at maybe like a 68 overall. They're usually better at that D tackle position, and I like them because they're more agile. They're going to be more of an athlete. They're going to have better speed. The strength and block shedding is still going to be there, and they're just going to be more of an athlete playing the inside as a run stopper. So it depends what defense you run, but that's kind of my advice. For the D tackles, I will also suggest avoiding the speed rushers. You could go after them. I know someone's going to say, I love the speed rushing D tackles. I got one. He's a dog. Went to the NFL, all of that. From my experience, I did a test of all the D tackles. The speed rusher developed the worst every single time. They had the lowest block shedding, and they also had the lowest overall every single time compared to the power rusher and the run stopper. So yes, there's always going to be an exception to every single rule, but from my experience, they developed the worst. So I would suggest avoiding them. And me personally, I don't want a speed rushing D tackle. I would much rather have a power moves guy that's going to have more strength, more block shedding. Like, I need my D tackles to be strong, man. So me personally, I'm avoiding the speed rushers unless they are 5-star or 4-star gym. And now let's move over to the linebackers. And my budget option is, man, if y'all know anything about these athlete middle linebackers, I think they're the best recruit in the game. 4-star, 5-star. You look here at the 4 stars, it's only going to be a handful in each class. This class, we literally have 4. We could go after 3. One is interested in us. I will go everything. I will send everything I can at this guy. Try to get him any 5 stars. We don't have any 5 stars. If it was, I would send everything I have at him. But these athlete middle linebackers could play anywhere on the field. DN, even D tackle. They could play cornerback if you need it, safety. They could literally play anywhere on the defensive side of the ball. So you have here some 3 stars. I would suggest bringing in, especially early in the program, if you're looking to change the program around quick, I would bring in 3 of these, 4 of these. maybe even 5, depending on what my team needs are, and I will move them all around the defense. Some will play outside linebacker, some might stay at middle. I might put one over at safety, one at DN, you know, because they could really play anywhere. They could coming in with good speed. They'll develop the pass rushing ability. They can really do everything. So the 3 stars and the 4-star middle linebackers is going to be my budget. And next, let's talk about the cornerbacks. And I dropped a tier list video for all the defensive players. And for cornerbacks, I put the slot corner in my best and my favorite out of all the archetypes. I put the slot corner number 1. But 3-star slot corners is not it. I'm be honest. Their speed is too low. Unless you can find you a slot corner 3-star with some good speed, 90s, I wouldn't really go 90 or lower on the corner. But when you get to the 3 stars, they all have low speed from my experience. It's harder to find them. The 4-star slot corners, that's a go. That's my favorite. They're going to come in with some solid speed, especially if you find them at a gym. But on average, these 3-star corners just come in with less speed. So I would recommend either going with a man guy, zone guy for the 3 stars, unless you do find that slot corner with some better speed. But because the reason I like the slot corners, they develop the best overall stats. I want my corner to be balanced. Solid zone, solid man, and press coverage I don't care about as much. But with the man and zone corners, they only develop their archetype. They tend not to develop overall compared to the slot corners. The last budget recruit I want to talk about are going to be these athlete wide receivers. And I generally feel like you should not play them at wide receiver. You should either move them to defense. And I suggest safety. You could do corner. Their own press coverage is a little bit low at times at corner. I would suggest moving them to safety. They're going to turn into a hybrid safety. I don't love that, but they really play the best in my opinion. You get a gem, he's going to come in with 90 plus speed, and you're going to have a safety flying around the field, and he's also going to be big. Look at these guys, 6'4", 6'2". You get yourself a big player, and like I say, you can also put him at corner. You could have a 6'5" corner. Depending on what his speed is, you can put them over there. They're going to have some good coverage stats. So that's going to be another budget item. Get these 3 stars or 4-star athlete receivers and move them over to safety, and they're going to play pretty good for you. All right, man, that's all I got for y'all today. If y'all enjoyed this video, make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Go over to my Twitch, follow me over there, and click the video on the screen now for my temple rebuild.